Hi everyone, it's Matt here at Northern Outlier. First of all, I just wanted to wish everyone a happy new year, and I hope you had a great holiday season. I know for myself it was very much needed. It was really nice just to be able to relax and also catch up on some projects. Secondly, I just want to extend a huge thank you to anyone who has liked, subscribed, or generally tuned in over the last year. It is very much appreciated. It's kept me motivated and it's really helped out the channel. In this special episode, I just wanted to do a 2024 year in review, looking at a few of the projects that I've done, provide a bit of a channel update, and also what to expect to come in 2025. So 2024 was a super hectic year for me. I ended up doing several projects, several big projects actually, some of which I filmed, some which I didn't. Anyone out there who does content creation knows how long it takes to put these films together, how long things take when you're filming. Given the fact that I was on a significant time crunch, I only filmed some of the projects and not others. I'm going to walk you through some of those projects right now though. So the first big project I did was a cedar split rail fence at the front of my property, and let me tell you, this took forever. I used true 4x6 rough cut cedar posts for the fence posts. I burnt the ends with a tiger torch. Now this is a Japanese method for wood preservation. I used an auger to drill the holes. I went down probably 36 inches, as far as I could go. Put the posts in, and then I used cement to cement them in. Some people will argue with me on the use of cement or not using cement. It is what it is. I cemented them in. Once the posts were in, then I moved on to doing the rails. So I used true 3x3 10-foot cedar posts for the rails. And these were a real pain in the butt because I had to basically do a diamond cut or taper them at each end. And then those fit into slots that I drilled out on the posts. So on each post, there was a top and a bottom slot that I drilled out using a hole saw and my multi-tool, and then I used a reciprocating saw to cut those diamond cuts on either end. This took a long time. There was a lot of back and forth, a lot of adjustments that had to be made. So essentially those slots had to hold two overlapping diamond cut ends, so basically the rail coming in from one side and then the rail going out on the other side. So basically when I was making the cuts, yeah, there was a lot of back and forth because I had to cut it, see if it fit, make the adjustments, take it back, see if it fit again. So in some cases there was a lot of back and forth. Sometimes the rails just fit right off the bat. So I ended up sanding down all those rails and posts as well. I came to the realization that with that rough cut surface, it was going to absorb the stain and the wood preservative like crazy. So I wanted to leave a nice smooth surface for that part of the project. I ended up using an angle grinder with a flap disc. That's a hot tip. Angle grinder with a flap disc will take off a ton of material really quickly and leave a nice smooth surface. So I did that on every single cedar post, which increased my time significantly. So once I had the fence all done, I needed to cover it in wood preservative because this was untreated cedar and I wanted to make sure it was protected for a very long time. I applied 2 coats of Rust-Oleum's Wood Life Copper Coat. This stuff is meant to protect wood against insects, fungi, mold, you name it. It can be used alone or it can be used before you paint or stain wood. This stuff is great, and I would say for any exterior projects where you're using untreated wood, this stuff is essential. Make sure you follow the instructions and you use your PPE when you handle this stuff because it is very toxic. Once the preservative was on, I let it sit for a few weeks before I stained it. And when I stained it, I applied 2 coats of Ready Seal Dark Walnut Stain. Everywhere I read online, Ready Seal stain kept popping up. It wasn't always necessarily rated the best, but it was on most lists that people provided. So given the fact that it was available locally to me, I ended up going with Ready Seal stain. Now I've used a lot of stain before, but I must say that this stuff was by far the best. It was really easy to apply, it went on well, and it looked really good in the end. It was a nice, deep, rich color. It also didn't take that much stain at all. I did 2 coats of stain to the entire fence, and it only used 1 gallon. But to me, that's just It's simply amazing. I'll see how it holds up over time, but based on my initial experience, I must say that Ready Seal stain is an excellent product. I'll actually put a link down below if you're interested in Ready Seal. You can check it out, you can get it on Amazon. So after all of that, the fence was finally done. I don't even want to know how many hours it took, but I worked on it over the course of 2 months, just like evenings and weekends here and there a little bit. I think though it turned out really well in the end, and it should last a lifetime. The next project I worked on was a fire pit. Simple, right? Not with me. I wanted something that looked natural and kind of blended in with the landscape. My plan ended up changing in the end quite a bit, but overall I think it turned out really well. I live on a river, so my backyard slopes down towards the water. So I wanted a level fire pit area. So basically what I decided is I had to build a retaining wall on the downslope portion using boulders. And then that would allow me to basically build up with material to make that level surface. So basically I started out by marking out my area, removing all the sod within that area, which was a ton of work. I put down heavy duty landscape fabric, and then proceeded to build my retaining wall at that downslope portion. Another tip, if you're doing something like this, put some kind of drainage on that retaining wall. I put little pieces of pipe every probably 6 feet just along that retaining wall to allow water to drain out. So at this point I could start backfilling my area with material. I was too cheap to rent a bobcat or an excavator, and I decided to use my quad and my little wagon, which proved to be obviously very difficult and very time consuming. In the process, I also burnt out the starter and the starter relay on my quad, which you might have seen videos on that. I guess it did give me some content, but that delayed the project as well. I had to diagnose and then obviously order and replace those parts before I could continue. Those videos I'll put a little link to right here if you want to check them out. So once I had moved all that material into the area and built up that nice level surface, I then made a ring in the center of bigger boulders to kind of finish it off. In the end, I think it turned out pretty well. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm going to do some more landscaping in the future around it, just to make it kind of look a little bit more natural and blend in with our backyard. Another big project I did this year was I built a canoe rack. So we own 2 canoes and 2 kayaks, and they take up a ton of space. So I just wanted something down near the water that would keep them up off the ground and out of the elements. So I grabbed a design online, and it was actually a complicated one, I must say, because it includes a roof over top of where the canoes and kayaks sit. I wanted something that was going to provide shelter for the boats because they're going to be sitting there all the time. So this will keep them out of the elements and protected. I must say though, I have not finished this project yet. I built the main rack, and I will have to build that roof portion in the future. So with this project, again, I had to deal with my sloping yard. So what I did is I started out with heavy duty foundation blocks, which I leveled. And then that downslope portion, basically when I built the rack, it sits higher than the uphill portion, if that makes sense. I used 2x6 pressure treated wood throughout, and then used carriage bolts to assemble it all. Overall, I think the rack turned out really well so far. It's really solid, keeps the boats well protected. I currently have a tarp over it until I can build that roof. The one thing I will have to look into after I build the roof is to see how heavy it is, and maybe look into some kind of anchoring system just to keep it a little bit more solid on the ground. The other big project I had this year was dealing with the outside of the garage. So if you've followed the channel and watched any of the videos, you might recall the video I made on the great flood that I endured late last winter. If not, you can check it out right here. But basically, out of that, I decided I needed to do 4 things to the garage. I needed to install eaves troughs, I needed to seal around the lower edge by the concrete, I also needed to install a French drain system around these 2 sides, and then I also wanted to seal up the garage doors at the front with a threshold strip. I'm really happy to say that I got all 4 of these items done. I posted the threshold strip video back in the summer. I'm currently working on the French drain video. I'm a little behind on that. As for the gutters and sealing the lower edge, I did not film that actually. Again, just due to time constraint, but you will be seeing the French drain video coming shortly. These 4 things were super high priority this year. I'm glad I got them done, and hopefully I'll have no water issues going forward, but we'll see what happens later on this winter. Stay tuned for that French drain video though. So those are some of the main projects I did in 2024. Obviously I had other videos on the channel with other various little projects I was doing, whether it was woodworking or unboxings, product reviews. The one big project I did was the lighting upgrade here in the garage, which I made a video which is here if you want to check that out. So in terms of numbers, I did about 20 videos in 2024 on the channel. I would have obviously liked to do a little bit more. I will say though that I filmed a lot and I have quite a backlog of footage right now, so there will be lots of videos coming for 2025. So what to expect in 2025? Well, there's going to be lots of garage videos. I've got that French drain video coming shortly. And now that I've dealt with the outside of the garage, I can actually deal with the inside a little bit, which to me is a much more exciting part. And I think it will be much more exciting to you guys as well. So you'll probably see some videos with me just getting the place organized and set up. Probably videos on workbenches, maybe some French cleats. I think I'm gonna put some French cleats on the wall behind me. Maybe a TV installation, a little bit of air sealing, we'll see. So stay tuned for that, lots of garage videos to come. There will also be lots of ATV videos coming in 2025. So I have a 2009 Yamaha Grizzly 700, which when I got it was a little beat up from the previous owners. And I'll be doing lots of projects on that. So expect to see lots of ATV videos. That might include brakes, wheel bearings, rear axles, fluid changes, and stuff like that. So if you like those kind of videos, stay tuned. Those will be coming as well in 2025. So other than that, I'll be doing some small woodworking projects, probably some more product reviews, and then also some updates on previous products that I've done videos on. So having said all that, I'm obviously super busy and I need to get back to work. So I am signing off on this episode. I'm also signing off on 2024. I hope you all have a wonderful year ahead. And again, thank you for all the support. It is much appreciated, keeps me motivated, and it really helps out the channel. Make sure you give me a thumbs up down below. Hit subscribe if you want to see what's to come in this next year. Thank you everyone. We'll see you on the next one.